So it's been about a year since I first talked about Star Giant Productions on this channel. And while I haven't seen too many of her videos, I've seen enough where I can safely say this. Star Giant Productions is one of the most incompetent content creators I ever had the dishonor of coming across. And this recent video of hers is a pretty big example to why. Keep in mind, I'm not doing this in defense of the Loud House movie, because my opinion on the movie isn't too positive either. If you want to see it, I'll leave a link in the description. Anyway, the reason I'm doing this is because this video is genuinely not good. I had to suffer through this shitstorm of a review once. Now I'm going to do it again just to show you what I mean. Oh, and to potentially give criticism too if Star Giant ever sees this. I should bring that up too. Alright, let's just get this over with.
Skipping, we're skipping, we love to all go skipping.
Right.
Skipping,
It's a skip button.
skipping, we love
Great.
to all go skipping.
And before we move on, I don't like doing controversial opinions for the sake of controversial opinions. I don't try to be negative with things like The Owl House or Weathering with You to piss people off. Oh, I'll review that movie next year for the record. Not the biggest fan. I am negative about things when I don't like them, regardless if they are popular or not. That's how I am.
And why are you bringing this up? This literally has no point to the video. I get the Loud House is a popular show and it has gotten its fair share of praise. And you yourself said the show was never good in one of your videos. But even I've seen a decent amount of people say the Loud House isn't good long before you shared your take on it. So it just makes this whole part of the video, as well as you stating it's a controversial opinion in your previous Loud House video, fucking pointless.
Lincoln himself is an interesting character. What isn't interesting is his sisters, especially in this movie. This is my least favorite Loud House thing ever. At least Brawl in the Family was only 11 minutes, and I could make fun of Schooled. Hell, I even argued that this is the worst Nickelodeon movie ever. Yes, this is worse than both Wonder Park and Sponge on the Run.
This is more of a nitpick, but I never liked when Star Giant said stuff like that. Mainly because saying stuff like, this is one of my favorite movies of all time, or this is my least favorite thing of this category ever, isn't really necessary to say in almost every video you do. Once in a while is fine, but don't do it in like every video you do. It's gonna get really tedious.
There's a lot of small things in this movie that bother me. Like for starters, this movie's about answering where Lynn Loud Sr.'s side of the family comes from. We don't get to hear anything on Rita. In the movie, Rita just says,
Well, my family is from right here in Royal Woods, honey.
okay, that would mean that the Louds are Native American. Because, I don't know what history you've been reading, Rita, but whites are not from North America. They are most likely somewhere from Europe. You know, it's actually really easy to tell when what you're listening to is a first draft. Why couldn't Rita's family also be from Scotland? Also, Michigan is, like, not as old as other places around the world that whites are from. And this show, or rather the Casa Grandes, has shown what Native American people look like. I'm sorry, but that's not how families work. For a show all about family, it's amazing how much of a shit job it does at it. Why can't we get Rita's origin as well? Can't Rita just do a DNA test?
I know this might not be what you're directly trying to say, but mixed race families can still be a thing regardless. Hell, even I have a bit of a mixed race family, with my mom coming from Ireland and my dad being from, well, here in America. Also, why are you getting salty that Rita's side of the family isn't mentioned? That part wasn't important to the story, like, at all. You yourself even show a clip of Rita saying,
Well, my family is from right here in Royal Woods, honey.
so yeah, even the movie itself kind of proves my point. Not to mention you're getting so pissed off over something so unimportant. This bullshit could have easily just been cut out of the video entirely. And let me tell you, it definitely would have saved me a little more time. Hell, it would have saved me even more time if this video was actually good, but that's clearly not the case.
Come on, everybody, skip it!
I guess they didn't do this in the Loud House because, for a show that wants to be down-to-earth reality, they want to be as insane as possible, like people in the real world. That's my biggest problem with the Loud House as a whole. Besides the Lincoln abuse and annoying sisters, it doesn't know whether or not it wants to be down-to-earth, real life like Hey Arnold, or something off the walls like Bunsen the Beast or Mighty B.
The show was never really trying to be that serious though. Yeah, it had morals, but they never really went as deep as Hey Arnold did. Hasn't the show always been chaotic too? Not in a goofy or comedic way, but in like a sibling rivalry, family bigotry way. I mean, there is kind of a difference if you really look at it. Well, I do think dragons and ghosts feel out of place in the show. At least with the crazy sci-fi stuff, it's always been there. I don't think the show is very comparable to something like Hey Arnold or Bunsen. At least when it comes to the tone.
This movie doesn't understand what an ensemble cast is. Take a look at something like Aladdin. Aladdin worked because each character got an equal amount of focus time.
Focus time? What? Is that even a real word? Star, who the hell proofreads your scripts? Oh my god. Like, I totally understand you can't do anything about your voice, but you can sure as hell do something about your scripts. Oh my god, focus time. Oh my god, so bad.
The Loud House movie doesn't do that. Their idea of an ensemble cast is having the sisters have their own subplots. Speaking of subplots, there's this subplot of Bobby and Lori having a breakup situation, because during one of the calls when Lori was out at sea, she had a bad connection with Bobby, and it made Bobby think they were breaking up and that Lori fell in love with a guy named Scott.
I love Scott.
Faith.
Breaking up. You.
Wait, what?
The first time that I saw this movie, I thought that this subplot was going to play into the movie. There's this guy that Lenny falls in love with named Scott. My guess when watching this was that when Bobby got to Caledonia, he will run into Scott and maybe start some kind of rivalry. And if they fought in Scottish ways, like even playing golf, it could have been an interesting subplot. Plus, Lori actually does major in varsity golf, so it could have been cool seeing these two boys play golf to win Lori's heart. Even if it meant nothing in the end, it does sound like a cool premise. But no, Bobby just come randomly in at the last 10 seconds of the movie. People have told me that the Wreck-It Ralph 2 subplot is stupid because of Felix and Calhoun hinting that they're building up to something and never going through with it. The reason why that works is because not only does it set up a really funny joke at the end of the movie, but it leaves you wondering how they took good care of those kids.
The key to parenting is...
Wow. I wish every parent could hear that.
You don't get any of that kind of wonder when it comes to Bobby's subplot at all.
Okay, first of all, literally only 3 of the 10 sisters get subplots in this movie, so I don't know why this is such a big issue. Second of all, I don't even think the Bobby thing even counts as a subplot, like, at all, seeing as it's only shown in 2 scenes. Lastly, if Ralph 2 gets a pass for doing exactly what this movie did, that being leaving their subplots for only 2 scenes at the beginning and end of the movie, by saying you could just use your imagination, by that logic, Bobby's thing should also get a pass, because we barely see him get to Scotland, so I guess we can just use our imagination for that too. Seriously, how did you or any of your proofreaders not notice this? Again, who the fuck's proofreading this shit? Oh my god.
Dragons. Okay, you're Scottish. I can kind of let that slide. These ghosts, though, they make no logical sense. And I'm not even just talking about the worst Deus Ex Machina that I've ever seen in a film. Or perhaps, Ghost Ex Machina!
You're not fucking funny, Star. Also, you're bringing up Ghost and Molly and Mickey Heroes pointless. Next!
To America. They had to if the Louds were to grow up. Oh, by the way, Ghost Mom looks exactly like Rita. Even though Rita in this movie says she's from Royal Woods and not from Scotland. Even though these two women from different families somehow look exactly the same. This movie was shot out, wasn't it?
That ghost only looks like Rita. They didn't establish if it was an ancestor or not.
Also, this movie seems perfectly fine with an 11-year-old child in charge of a country. Does this movie not know what a Duke does? When both Minions and Garfield 2, A Tale of Two Kitties gets this better than you do, you got a problem.
Oh my god. An actually valid point. Star Giant actually did something right for once. But Minions really wasn't the best example to bring up here. Because letting some yellow mutant tic-tac thing rule over a kingdom sounds just as stupid as letting an 11-year-old boy do so. Can't really say anything for Garfield 2 though, because I haven't really seen that movie. But other than that, letting an 11-year-old boy rule over a kingdom, despite having no experience, is actually a valid criticism, not gonna lie. Alright, back to shitting on this video now.
How did the ghosts get back to Scotland? They died in America. In every ghost story that I have ever heard, where the ghost dies is where they live. They don't go back to the place that they were born. They should be in America.
So, just because other stories have had this rule does not mean that this one has to follow it.
Goodbye.
But if that's not Disney enough for you, that's David Tennant, the voice. You most likely know him as the 10th Doctor for Doctor Who. I don't know if Viacom was envious of Disney again, but this guy, named Agnes, the Lock Loud groundskeeper, sounds exactly like Scrooge McDuck.
Oh, Donald, is that you? My eyes are as clouded as my mind.
To the point of copying dialogue from him.
Blow my bagpipes. Blast my bagpipe.
And yes, Scrooge McDuck was also played by David Tennant. And before you tell me, but it's just a popular Scottish statement, I don't buy it. Even if that is true, the way that Agnes says it is way too similar to Scrooge McDuck. Like, it's his most iconic line.
You literally only bring up one line, though. How does that automatically make Agnes just Scrooge McDuck 2.0? If you really look at it, these two are still completely different characters. Scrooge is a rich, adventurous duck who's gained family issues, and Agnes is pretty much a nice guy who happens to be a groundskeeper. And of course, David Tennant gives completely different performances. Just because a character sounds and or did something similar to another character does not automatically make him the same character. It all depends on the writing for the character.
Going back to the sisters, the worst of them is Lola. Fuck Lola! First of all, it's revealed that she spent all the family's money on herself.
What? This winning smile doesn't whiten itself, you know.
Secondly, it was her that claimed that Lincoln was selfish.
This is all because you want to be the Duke.
What? No! It has nothing to do with it.
Busted, dude.
Why is Lincoln still with his family? They do not treat him with respect. I mean, the film kinda builds off that premise. Almost like we knew this problem all along, but we're gonna fix this in this movie. I'm sorry, but this ain't Twilight Sparkle in Season 4 where the writers knew that Twilight wasn't getting the best princess responsibility and were saving that for Twilight's Kingdom. Oh, one more thing for Lola.
Yeah, you really bombed out there.
Great sympathy that you showed after your brother almost died on a dragon.
We all blow it sometimes, even me.
I don't care if that's the full statement. Why should I care about Lola now?
Judging an entire character off of a few minor lines and gags. Does anyone know how to exit life?
Hey, this is a little nugget of information that I just forgot to put in. The only reason that the Louds are perfectly fine with staying in Scotland isn't because of helping Lincoln out. It's because they all would then get their own special personalized bathrooms.
We're not moving to Scotland.
Our house with one bathroom.
We're moving to Scotland.
What a loving family, am I right? Only care about themselves and not their own son who they abandoned in the streets. That's Christian show. That's how we show our love! I'm so sick of it! Boo. I mean, this film starts with Lincoln helping the sisters win them trophies, and then they all shunt them to the side, making Lincoln get locked out of the restaurant and him walking home alone. Oh, does the family look for him?
Mom! Dad!
Lincoln has to take out the trash for a month.
Real charming. So, you didn't even notice that your son or brother was gone. This movie can bite me!
Did it, Stinkin'?
Why does Lincoln still live with them? He could've just stayed in Scotland.
Oh my fucking god. I kinda get what Star Giant's trying to say here, but my god, the examples she brings up are so bad. First of all, the family's kinda right. Lincoln had no other good reason to be the Duke of a Scottish town. Not to mention they established they already had friends, schools, and jobs back in Royal Woods. And second of all, if you actually look at the restaurant scene, you should know that Lincoln was only kicked out by accident and not intentionally. So does that make my mom a vicious child abuser when she accidentally stood on my foot for 2 seconds? It's honestly amazing that it's clear that you've actually seen the movie and yet still interpret the scene as fucking child neglect. Okay, only a few more things to bring up, then I can finally be done with this shit.
Oh, and one more thing that I almost forgot. There's a scene where Lucy jokes about suicide.
Gotcha. I was almost a goner. Maybe next time.
That's not funny. An 8-year-old wanting to commit suicide is not a funny thing. Are we?
It's just a fucking joke, get over it.
Morag says,
You know what? I could lie. But why bother? Guilty as accused.
"You're a terrible villain, Morag." I think
Hang
something like this happens in northern Northam.
What the hell did I just see back there? Did Star Giant's OC just go invisible or something? Or is it just one of the worst fucking editing mistakes I've ever seen in my life? This could honestly apply to the rest of your editing too. It's like you barely even checked it over before uploading the video. And you know what? Fuck it, I'm done with this video. There is a little more I could say, but I'm already fucking burnt out already. So just fucking, I'm ending it right here. You know, seeing as she actually did comment on a response video to her, that response being by MPK Reviews, and actually did state that you try to improve on future videos, this video barely showed any signs of improvement. This was just as poorly edited, poorly informed, poorly reviewed, and just all around poorly made as a bunch of other Star Giants videos. And like I said, there are so many other things wrong with this video that I wanted to bring up, but I couldn't, mainly for time's sake. It is that fucking bad. I am so baffled that she has gotten so many subscribers when her content is just so bad. What the heck do these people find so amusing in her content? I genuinely want to know. If you're one of her followers who enjoys her content, please tell me why in the comments. Let me tell you, this video eventually got so exhausting to work on. Mainly because Star Giant's videos as a whole can be just so exhausting to get through. So it's definitely going to be a while till I make another response video on her. Not to mention, I want to wait till something interesting about her comes up. Now if you'll excuse me, I need to go work on a video on something that's actually good. Okay, bye.